we are going to start our delve into what's going on with D&D, and then we will get into making a Pathfinder character. Unless you guys want to see any other sort of game, because I got a bunch of RPGs behind me on this shelf right here. So, and of course on this shelf over here too, I got a bunch of books and things so we can do. So we're gonna go do that right here. I'm gonna pull up that site, and we shall basically get into reading it. So I haven't read these at all myself. I just pulled a couple up, quickly glanced through it just to see what they were all about, and we're basically just going to go through that, just see basically what they're talking about. Again, this video is probably going to be up after, so it'll be on my YouTube channel if you guys want to check that out and see more videos and stuff that I do. With that, let's pull up the website here. They start off by posting their big sort of like catch you paragraph here is Wizards of the Coast seeks feedback on the Open Gaming License version 1.2. It also says that the core game mechanics will be placed on a Creative Commons license. Okay, so they're getting rid of OGL and switching to Creative Commons. That's huge, because Creative Commons, depending on where you live, is a law that's kind of universal. It's going to have more restrictions with a little bit of less, but give you more. So the stability, but you won't have that specific creative in-depth like we had with OGL. So Creative Commons could be a good thing. It could be a double-edged sword, and I'd rather it be Creative Commons than, not be. But then again, that might mean we can get a Lord of the Rings scenario where Lord of the Rings in a few more years would actually become Creative Commons, but because trademarks and corporations are greedy, they're going to keep it, and they're going to just change it slightly so that the core base of it is Creative Commons. But the stuff that people actually want to use and say is going to get trademarked. And D&D pushing that multimedia thing, I can definitely see them going to do this with the Creative Commons. They're going to use that Creative Commons to push things around, reword things, and potentially get more money out of this and more royalty and trademarks. Again, I'm not a lawyer. There's a guy on YouTube who actually is a lawyer who's been doing videos on this really well. I highly recommend checking him out. The name escapes me right now. I'll post a link for him in the VOD later. But anyways, so Creative Commons right off the bat, it's major eyebrow raise, I guess I'll say. It's not a red flag, it's not like an emergency, but it's still like on high alert sort of thing. So, in an announcement on D&D Beyond website, we looked at that website a while ago, and that's the other one I have. Producer D&D has introduced OGL 1.2, the latest version of the Dungeons & Dragons open game license. Highlights that this version of the license doesn't contain any of the ownership, royalties, and revenues. Ooh, that's flashbang. Highlight royalties, revenues, reporting requirements found in the more restrictive OGL 1.1. Yeah, the things that caught them on. Wizards of the Coast, wotc, owned publisher, did release the new draft ahead of self-imposed deadline Friday. Unlike the previous leaked draft, will be subject to community. Yeah, they're gonna actually give us feedback on this, like they said that they did with the last one, and they're gonna be play testing it, quote unquote. So we'll click this. We'll take a look at this. Actually, let's just save this as a new tab. There we go. So we'll look into that later here. Okay, one of the major concerns of the D&D community is that the new license was intended to replace the original OGL. Yep. Though an update to the OGL isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's old, but what they were trying to do with the update to restrict it, contain it, and basically pull the wotc, or at Games Workshop for those who've been in the trenches longer than some of the D&D players from 5th. That was the major problem. But explicitly saying the older content will be unaffected by the new OGL 1.2. So basically, what could be taken from reading this is that if you made something, from a month ago or older, that would be protected under the original OGL. anything from when this new OGL comes into existence, anything past that would be under this new OGL, and that's still, thing. Well, nothing will impact any content you have already published. They'll always be under that. So Pathfinder, all those games are going to be safe. They don't have to go to make new systems. They can keep doing what they're doing. Anything new, though, if a new company wants to come out and make something for 5th edition, then they're going to be, or make their own game even, then they're going to be under the new OGL 1.2. Inclusive, safe play experience for anyone. We deeply important to us, and OGL 1.8 didn't give us any ability to share. Yeah, fucking right, it didn't. It gave everybody a safe space to play this in this sandbox. That's why it was made. This is like saying that EA is like, with our old games and owning Activision, we wanted to make a great place and fun place for everyone to play games and make cool mods for like Call of Duty or for Battlefield. And then they came out and did what they did, 5 years ago with loot boxes and the Need for Speeds, closing down shops. But they're still doing it because they didn't feel like it was safe to do so in the past. And this new thing is now safer. Ooh. So yeah, this is, again, that two-facing bullshit that WotC does. And why a lot of people are pissed off at them for it. So, yeah, no. You're blowing it again here, Wizzies. Summary of the new OGL, little quick top here, virtual tabletop policy. So here we go. Now we have them talking about people who, stream on Roll20. This is, I'm wondering to see what this says, because they have partnerships with Roll20. Like you can buy, like their newer books were giving you codes to get you discounts or even full like map packs for Roll20. So let's see what they, let's see what they say here. We will continue to support virtual tabletop usage for both OGL and the online operators. The virtual tabletop policy spells this out. Ownership disputes, you own your content, you don't give Wizards any license back, and for disputes, be sure to breach contract and money disagrees versus upholding players going well, sort of blah blah. No hateful conduct or conduct. So basically it's saying you own your shit and stuff. No hateful content. Don't be an asshole with your content when you make it, or they'll delete your shit, even though that they said your stuff was still protected under the original one. So there you go. And then once you've been accepted into their secret society, you can post a D&D 5e checkmark on your thing. Basically, the blue checkmark from Twitter you put on your stuff with the WotC flavored version. Alright, so it's there. It's better. It's more up to date. There's not really much to say there. Again, I voiced my opinion on a bunch of stuff in the last stream, last VOD. So, in addition to introducing 1GO, WotC also revealed that the core game mechanics for D&D will be placed under Creative Commons license. So this is the one I'm interested in seeing, because this has caught my interest. A move that will likely win back some favor with the community. Yeah, but don't give up. Don't let up. Don't let this be like, oh, we're protected now because it's Creative Commons. No, you're fucked if you let them. And let me rephrase it. We are fucked if we make them think that they won because of this. No, Creative Commons is just a stable ground we can take a rest on. Creative Commons is not going to be good for us in the long run. In the short run, it will be. In the long run, no. Because then, once it goes into the Creative Commons, WotC can just wipe their hands off of this and just let the American government and UN shit do their thing. Then, we all know, especially those who have worked in the industry, know how WotC gets when they don't have to deal with something anymore. It just collects dust. Core D&D mechanics to the community through a Creative Commons license, which means that they are fully in your hands. Official D&D, so owlbears, magic mists. So basically, everything like the generic everyone has used, like the term owlbears, magic missiles, rolling d20s, charisma, strength. The core, what has been D&D, what everything you've seen from first edition up to fifth edition, everything that's been the same, all of that will be in the Creative Commons. So we're skipping 100 years because Creative Commons, as I remember learning it in school, was if something's been around for 100 years and it's kind of stayed the same and it hasn't been, like super trademarked into oblivion, it becomes free for everyone to use. So terms, names, settings. So like say Star Wars, if it wasn't owned by Disney and it stayed with Lucas for another like something years, lightsabers, saying Darth Vader, warp travel, light speed, spaceship, lasers, thermal detonator, generic things like that would have been Creative Commons, and anybody could use those things in their stuff. Though, like the story of Star Wars would still be under his LucasArts, and some of the characters would still be his, but the basic things they use in the Force would be common. So yeah, transfer of these updates will follow a more heartfelt apology. Yeah, I don't believe that. For the leaked one, yeah. Again, my favorite meme of this whole thing is the guy holding the other dude back. He says, playtests don't come with contracts that you sign with people. I like that. Like that meme is pretty good. The blog post announcing 1.2 will be updated sometime later today with a link where fans and players can submit feedback. So this feedback thing is where the link is, and people are saying it was changing on them. So let's get to... So we're now on the official Beyond website here in response to 1.2. So we're going to go through this, where it's FAQ. And then we're going to do the survey. See if it's actually as bad as people say. So we have our ask questions here. We've received a lot of great questions on social media, but are you shutting down tabletop online stuff? Nope, we love watching you play them. Their feedback, okay. Does Wizards review feedback left via survey, including comments? Yes, we are designers whose core job it is to compile, analyze. So basically, yes, they're going to read our stuff. Are you different between virtual tabletop video games? We understand there's... Okay, so here's one that's going to be interesting to see what they say. We understand there's a spectrum between virtual tabletops and video games. The VTT policy will get updated, and we'd like to hear your thoughts on the VTT policy question in our playtest survey. Excuse me again. Is D&D Beyond planning to release a $30 subscription? No, these are rumors. Yeah, you got caught. They were going to. If there is something about money in a subscription, it is going to be true. Is homebrew content on D&D Beyond going away? Homebrew is core to D&D Beyond. It's not going away, and we're not going to change it for you. Your homebrew, it always will be yours. I bet you they'll push it to the side. If we didn't catch them, they were going to push it to a tab that would be hidden, and you kind of have to do a little bit of digging for it, because a lot of things like to do that. Working on AI DMs. We love our human DMs too much. No one wants to be a DM, and that's like, and this is, I guess, going to be a take what I think about. They have a Discord for DMs. That's pretty good on them. I'll give them credits for that. But the major problem with a lot of people starting with RPGs is that no one really wants to be the DM. A lot of people think it's really hard to start. My short answer to that is it's not. If anything, it's more daunting. As an outsider's glance, it seems more daunting than it is. I'll hopefully be doing video series here in the future where I'm going to go over different games, starting out different aspects like hints and tips and kind of guides to how to be DMs, how to get into playing, what to search, stuff for different variety of games and social stuff from my sort of perspective. If you want a funny but actually entertaining but somewhat insightful view of things, check out the Joe Cap's Crap Guide to DMing. That one's really, really good, and it has a lot of famous people, YouTubers on there as his friends. So I'd recommend checking that out. But here we go. We have the AI DMs would be kind of cool, but you know, to play with. There is that AI Dungeons game. What do you consider hateful? So this was another one too. I talked about and I went off on them about in the last video. This, what do you consider to be harmful and hateful content? Because they left it very vague and they could use that to take down anyone without having to voice their, like, give you a reason why, because they could, because you signed the contract. So they say it is hateful and harmful content is hard to define. We know this is a sensitive topic. We're taking it and you're put seriously. We clarify language around this in the next draft. What is creative efforts won't be impacted by the second. So their January 18th, 2022 statement, but summarize 1.2 will have no impact unless the following. So they're not going to affect people making videos, accessories that you make. So like, say if you make your own minis, your own maps. So say like if I bought that cool, awesome special edition Curse of Strahd from that one company that makes handmade like $1,000 gift boxes with everything, handouts, maps, all made by like hand to be like period authentic. Those are all fine. Basically, or if you say this contracted services means like if you bought from DM's Guild, you bought like a like Cobalt Keeps monster guide. If you bought that, that's still protected, and you can use that to play your games on streams and stuff or whatever. Again, Roll20 is protected. Anything on the DM's Guild is protected, and anything published under the original OGL. So everything made before like last month, anything made last month and earlier will be protected. And of course, 1.2 they say they will not have to make you pay money to them. What should I do with OGL project in development? Continuing. Okay, so here's another one. If you are currently in the middle of making something, it's still going to be protected, they say. Where can you find the license? Link to the creative license so you can learn that. Why does it? They talk about money. It's a free license, so they've just scrapped all you having to pay them because we freaking nuked their income. They want to nuke ours, we're going to nuke theirs. They're calling this playtest fest because D&D, everyone knows the term playtest. Ooh. Will they be adding more stuff? Yes, of course, with this feedback. So that's basically their Q&A. Okay, so here we have the actual thing, the survey. So this survey, a lot of people are saying when they were doing it, was actually changing on them when they were doing it. And they were removing your answers and changing them. So we're going to go through this with live camera. I'm streaming wotc. I'm live. You're going to see live if this actually changes. And as somebody who's worked in the business, who's been playing since they were a kid, in some form or the other, I'm going to have a lot to say on this and a lot of answers I can give. So if someone like me, who's like their targeted fan, is going to get like, pushed to the side, then who knows what's going to happen. Would you like to provide VPAC on 1.0? Yes, I do. That's why we're here. Now that you've read the proposal, what concerns about you in your mind? What concerns me? They've seemed to fix quite a bit of stuff. The thing about that's about it. Yeah, after reading the proposed 1.2, has your perception on the future of Dungeons & Dragons changed compared to before reading? I'd say it's still not the great, but I'd say it's slightly better. See, now that's interesting. So if I say slightly better, if I say better or much better, it doesn't pop up. But if I do this, it leaves a pop-up. What do you like to rate your level of understanding of your level of satisfaction with Creative Commons Attribution 4.0? Low. Satisfaction 3. Like, content found in the SDR that will be released under Creative Commons. So this is basically everything that will let you do the book stuff. I'm gonna say it's higher. My understanding, actually, my understanding about 2. That. Do you have any comments about the creative attrition before beautician? There we go. I did it. Yeah, that was dumb. Freaking WotC being like, we removed our shippers, so they're more like customer support because shipping supply chains exist now, and everyone who works in a game store was like, you've killed us, WotC. Because side tangent, um, the first straw against WotC that made me hate them is that when they made the choice. So for those who didn't know how it used to work back in the day, Wizards of the Coast used to have their own shipping center, and that's how they used to ship the. That's how your local stores would get their D&D books, their board games, and their Magic stuff. And what this did for stores was it made it that everyone paid equal amounts, and everyone had, depending on their size and their events, basically an equal chance to get product. And those prices you saw online were people giving an equal. There was an MSRP, and shops had a fair chance to compete with each other. And of course, online and Amazon was always going to be cheaper because quantity over quality. But when WotC 4 years ago decided to remove that, and they caused things like Universal, Lions, whatever, Rampant, to get holds to the exclusive rights to sell in countries, there was now a middleman. They had to pay WotC for stuff, and then they would have to charge you. And because they actually have some competent people that work in those cost areas, they were upping and lowering prices on boxes of Magic and D&D and stuff based on popularity. And WotC was giving favoritism to different ones, and there was just a lack of knowledge of logistics. Just went out the window. Just logistics gone. And it killed Magic, basically. All fairness in Magic, fair trade and stuff in Magic, gone. Stores were like being slammed. Some places were losing their shipments. They weren't getting their stuff. And it was just costs were too high, and they couldn't compete with online retailers. And online retailers, like Channel Fireball and stuff, were killing local small stores. And now with this Creative Commons stuff, and what D&D was going to do, shutting down other game publishers, it was making it hard again. So that's why when you look at Wizards of the Coast product on their websites or even on the back of D&D books, that little barcode, you'll see a lot of places will put stickers over them because they can't do MSRP on those covers anymore. Because every week, it was like every time we would order them in, it would shift drastically sometimes how much we should do when we do our markup costs. And this is like, again, saying if you were doing like, say, a 45% margin on like from cost to what you actually sold it for, you're still like, that was fluctuating. Like books were going from like cover price to about like $20 more. So it's insane. Right? So how would you rate your level of understanding level 7 with the notice of deauthorization, low and low? Yeah, no one should be deauthorized. No one should be silenced. So I'm thinking deauthorized as in like you wrote a thing, you're selling a thing, and then they're just like, ban hammer, nope. Content covered by the opposed. Understanding is high. I fully understood what they're saying. It's better than it was, so we'll give it a 3. Copper shit owning rights, yes and yes, because they're saying that you own your shit. They're not going to make you do stuff. So far, I'm not seeing anything changed. How do you like to rate your level of understanding with the control of your content section? You control your content high. So again, they're saying it's your stuff. I'm going to say a 3. How would you level set warranties and disclaimers section? I didn't see anything about warranties. Oh, this is where they're saying like we can at any time change this stuff. We're going to delete it. Bam. How would you rate your level of understanding and level set with the virtual tabletop policy? High. High. Have you used OGL previous version of it to create third-party content? Personally, no. Not in the sense that they're gonna probably assume, but I have made stuff. Do you want to create? Yes, I do want to create stuff because I made a lot of lore and stories for my shop, and I'd like to write it out someday. Okay, following how would you rate your interest in using content creator badge as part of your third-party works? I don't. So I would say it's cool because then if you have that badge, you'd be like wotc, like Papa wotc noticed you, and they're like, yeah, cool, do it. Like that's cool. But also means that there's now going to be a thing for people to be like, I got to get certified. They can use it to be a form of, like they were originally planning to do, where you have to report all your shit to them. And that, again, that's not cool. Unless, again, for copyright reasons, I can see why they want to do that. But I don't think this badge thing is a safe thing to do. It is, I think people that have that 5e like compatible slap sticker on their books you see on a lot of things should have to go through wotc potentially to, confirm it with them, maybe, money and stuff. Because, there's a whole thing about copyright lawyer stuff that I don't know about. But for like, any other company would be like, hey, I want to slap your Pepsi bottle logo or make a Pepsi flavor like gummy bear or something. The people who make gummy bears would have to go talk to Pepsi to have that. So, same sort of idea here. So the badge could be a cool concept, but these are concepts that are going to be run by greedy corporations and they can't be trusted. So it's better to use the phrasing no D&D is better than bad D&D. I'm going to say no badge is better than bad badge. So I'm going to say no. Hey, you can save your answers and come back using a link, whatever. Just please ensure you received link to continue, blah, blah, blah. Once the question submitted, your surveys will be finalized. So we've done it. We've done the survey. So with that, guys, that's basically it for stuff online here. Any thoughts, opinions, please leave them down in the chat or on the comment section below. I'm going to do a quick little search here. Yeah, I found a better site here. Let's take a quick look at it. We're only like not even an hour in, so let's read it. So here we go. We have the site. So basically it just says what we looked at originally. So here's the one things that I saw here. So we have Wizards Coast has revealed 1.2 and D&D Beyond, which lays out the key elements. Shift to utilize a Creative Commons license to establish the availability of D&D core mechanics. In line with licenses of D&D 5e alternatives like Dungeon World and Blades in Darkness, although Creative Commons only covers the core mechanics. That's what I was saying, like this is where we got to be careful with it. It makes them available for interpretation. Outside core mechanics, D&D elements that have previously been covered by the OGL owlbears are now moving to OGL 1.2, which offers a perpetual invocable license for use. This terminology was missing on OGL 1, but the fact caused concern for many creators. The new system also offers clarified policy for virtual tabletop platforms, which OG1 seemingly threatened. Revenue reporting and royalties likewise gone. Meaning creators large and small can sell content and run a business without worrying about extra fees or paperwork, like we were doing. Content creator product badges demanded under the limit changes in open game license are becoming optional again, whatever. Major provision of 1.1 that remains is the retinue of Wizards of the Coast rates. Violating certain terms agreements outside of basic terms around copyright infringement and illegal content. The violations covered under these terms have to do with discrimination and harassment. Content or conduct that Wizards of the Coast deem hateful can result in termination of the use license. So basically they can just pull the license from you and just take down all your shit. Again, wow, that was another threat we're going to do. And again, they don't say what's going to be hateful behavior and shit. Like, there's common sense in it, but common sense doesn't work in the same world as business sense. Business sense is more stricter and very carefully worded than a courtroom or, a parliament meeting. Like, it's anything you say and wrongly do can be completely crushed by some other dumb thing. So, I take that as we do. Ultimately, creators and players can feel more comfortable with 1.2 than with 1.1. Yeah, I did notice that it was better. which have essentially the same experience as before under new license, with a product of plentiful third-party content likely to continue in full force. Creators can still make material without jumping through newly added hoops. The essential D&D branding is being used in a way associated with the company with discrimination. For fans who are still uncomfortable with any terms in the new license, which is currently offering a playtest period, as long standing in place, but Dungeons & Dragons seems to be required. Let me see if I can get that license, let me get that link here for that playtest. I've talked for like an hour on this, so I'm good to switching over to some character creation. Talk about some cool things that I'm into. Maybe like I got a Pathfinder sheet loaded up for 2nd edition Pathfinder. So I think I'm gonna go quickly order / make some food here. And when I come back, we'll get making some Pathfinder characters. Yeah, and then after that, maybe finish painting the one model I have here on the side, and we'll get into turning some Cadians into some Conflict 47 models. Yeah, thank you for watching this part. If you're only here for the OGL discussion about what's been going on, again, this part will probably be on YouTube, edited and stuff for time, so you guys can watch that, see what's been up to date. We're going to keep the discussion going all day, all stream basically, so feel free to come by at any point and voice your opinion on the matter. And yeah, we'll continue to talk about it. Hopefully maybe get somebody to stop by. No one really wants to seem to talk, but we'll see who shows up. So yeah, thank you for watching there, and thank you for the follows, and we'll see you in the next 2 minutes here. I'll be quick.